live now, but what happens is sometimes it just doesn't go live when they say it is. So I'm waiting for the cue.
Time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I took a poop yesterday.
How about that?
Hey, icebreaker.
That's healthy. That's healthy.
It's good, right?
That's
Once a day?
very healthy. But was it only one? They say.
It was filled with a red dark tint. Is that blood?
I would say check with your primary
say
care
it's time
doctor.
to go.
Yeah. I would recommend you checking with your doctor.
And maybe baby wipes?
Live? All right. All right. So we are, thank you so much, sweetheart. We are starting off today. Usually I would start with my trademark, copywritten, whatever legal way you do it. But today, I have two very important people here today. Our theme is, I guess, for this portion of it, body and mind. A little soul in there. You know, black people got to put a little soul in there.
Always.
But I wanted to start the show somewhat giving a tribute to a young soldier, a sweet dude, man. And if you met this man before, and I've met him a few times, and I can honestly say he was one of those type of people where you can meet him once or twice and love him in a sense. Not know someone, but like, you know what, if I see him, it's always love. And unfortunately, he was a part of the Poussey beard gang. They have a beard oil. And they play on the word Poussey. And he sat right here next to me. And then I got some terrible news weeks later that he unfortunately took his own life. And I think this is something that's not a one-off coincidence. I think it's something that we're going to try to touch on to the best of our ability within the time we're allotted today. But I wanted to say his name and maybe read a little bit of his obituary just to let him know that he'll always live in my heart. And I can never share the pain that his family felt from losing him. But he had that type of energy where even someone like myself who met him a few times can honestly say that he changed my life forever. And I'll try to live in somewhat of a remembrance of what he did. So let me read some of his obituary. Nafi Tariq Roan, born April 3rd, 1995. Unfortunately left this earth July 14th, 2019. Nafi Tariq Roan, son of David and Rhonda Roan, entered the world April 3rd, 1995 in Baltimore, Maryland. He departed this body, of course, on July 14th, 2019. He was affectionately known by his family as Bojack. Nafi had a loving spirit. As much as he loved everybody, he was loved equally as much, if not more, by everyone. He was a free spirit, and it was evident to everyone. And whenever he met someone, something you would pick up on. He had a natural propensity to find the best of a situation or the best in people he encountered. His infectious smile naturally embraced people. So, for the sake of time, it kind of gives you a picture of the reason why it hurt me so much, man. It was like I find a lot of those traits within myself. Yeah. I try to always make sure wherever I'm at in the space I'm in, I make people feel good. I try to make people laugh. And that's how he was. And still, whatever the deep pain he was harboring inside, he still felt like the only way to get away from it was to take his life. And it hurts me just dealing with something like that because I see that darkness within me. Man, am I about to cry early? What in the world is going on? All right, so I also read an article. I'm going to pull it up. And it was from CNN. It says researchers have looked at survey data from about 200,000 high school students from 1991 to 2017 from the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention, a youth risk behavior survey. Among high school students of all demographics, 1 in 5 said they were thinking about suicide, and 1 in 10 said they had made a plan to carry it out. That's despite the increased attention given to the creation of campaigns to reduce youth suicide in the United States over the last decade. So we're very much aware of what's going on and how it's affecting not only our adults and family and friends, but most importantly, the teenage demographic. And yet, it's still an uptick. When we have people like this who, wherever they go, their smile is infectious and people love them, and you feel like there's no reason for them to jump out of the race, they still do it. What do you think could be the reason for stuff like this? And let me also introduce the person or people we have here today. I'm an amateur. We got Dr.
No. LCPC, Licensed Clinical Professional Counselor.
Dr. Cube is what we call him. No. Kubala. See, I told you I was going to mess it up,
That's
right?
all right. Kubala.
It's the emotions.
I understand.
Dr. Kubala on, and we
LCPC.
have... good job, watch it. LCPC.
Yes, yes.
And
In the state of Maryland.
massage therapist. No, stretch therapist.
Oh yeah.
I got it wrong the first time too. Evan Hall.
Yeah.
And did I pronounce your last name too? I don't think I pronounced
Kublai
your last
Duhart.
name. Duhart.
Yes.
Excuse me for my amateur ways.
No, no.
But I wanted to have you guys on. Number one, and we're gonna touch on how I think, because you're real big on what you eat and how you treat your body, also interplaying with your mind, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But as far as your expertise and your experience, why do you think children of this age, 18 to 35 or teenage years, are, despite the help and opportunities they have out there from people like you, are still choosing to take their lives?
It's a very dynamic question and situation. A lot of times individuals don't recognize their own signs, their own symptoms. Sometimes it's the depression that a person may be feeling. They may be experiencing lots of hurt, lots of pain, lots of sadness, wanting to just stay in bed thinking that that's all right, wanting to isolate ourselves from people, or sometimes even making people laugh and feel good so that people don't ask us what's really going on.
All right,
How
man.
are you feeling? Is there anything I can assist you with?
Right.
And even when those questions are asked, who are we? Yeah. People that want to be able to know that we're strong because that's something that somebody tells us, that it's all right to be strong and it's good to be strong. But sometimes we have that sense of weakness, and there's nothing wrong with that word either. Weakness, there is no shame that goes with it. It's something that we all have, that we all experience at different times in our lives. Being able to notice that there is something going on with myself, and there is no shame in saying I need help. There's no shame in saying that I cannot do this on my own. And being able to say that, sometimes other people may not hear it as well. Yeah, if we tell our parents or tell our friends, they may not know what to do with that. They may be in their own feelings at that time, in their own thoughts, and they may not be fully there to assist us. So it's very, very intricate. There's the human life is very fragile. Mind, body, and soul. So we have to be able to recognize that there are professionals out there to assist us. I'm a big fan of letting individuals know that if they find themselves in a point in their lives that they believe they need to harm themselves, to contact emergency services. Yeah, there's no shame in that. 911 will come, will assist you, will be able to take you to the hospital. There's no shame in being able in saying that, you know what, I need help, going to the emergency room. If the medication's necessary, they will assist you with that. A lot of times we find ourselves self-medicating as well.
Yes.
And there's so many different forms of self-medicating, whether it's alcohol, whether it's cocaine, whether it's weed, right? Whether it's anything. It could be sex, could be food, could be anything.
Right.
We find ourselves just attempting to fill that hole, fill that darkness, fill that sadness that we may be experiencing. So we're doing the best that we can. But there are professionals out there to assist. They can be found on Psychology Today. I'm one of the individuals that's advertised on Psychology Today. You're able to see what the individual looks like, be able to read their bio. They're able to recognize if they take your insurance or not. And if they are or if they're not, if you give them a call, they may be able to assist you. They may be able to give you another referral to somewhere or to a place that will be able to assist you at that time. So it's very important for people to recognize what's going on within themselves.
And knowing that there are opportunities out there.
There are.
Now, and maybe, Evan, this is something after I say this point that you could touch on if you have any experience in it, but a lot of times when people choose to take their life, right, in their mind they might think just of only their pain. And I'm not even going to speak about this young man anymore because I don't want to assume anything. But the families are still left here, and they're wondering, why didn't I notice these signs? What was there for me to do? How could I have reached out and helped someone? Have you ever had any kind of issues where a family or a friend, someone close to you, passed? And did you share those type of emotions?
I haven't experienced that personally. I would say I've struggled a lot with mental health.
Okay.
And I'm going to touch on what Kublai said about appearing strong. I think in our society, it is mandatory to be able to take care of yourself, to be strong. And that seems like an agenda that's kind of pushed on us. So a lot of times you don't reach out to friends or family. I can say I've definitely personally experienced that. So it's the friends and family, a lot of times they aren't given a chance
Right.
to assist the person, and it's really
you were even saying that they have their own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like especially within our
Yeah.
community, right? And we're human nature, so it's one big world community,
about
global.
that?
But as black people, because we black, let's put it in the air. Come on,
All right.
black people.
Hello.
All right,
All right.
all right. I love everybody, but it's black. We are going through all type of stuff.
Yeah.
Financial insecurity. You know, it could be some harbored molestation that the mother dealt with, all type of abuse, and it's like a generational curse that just keeps passing on. So by the time that this one passed on his crap to that one passed, and the kids absorbing all of it, he or she doesn't see a way to even let it out because everyone is just as messed up as he is. So yeah, it's definitely something. But what are there any, not tips and tricks, but what are some signs or some things that you can know that you talked about sleeping all day or staying to yourself?
Yeah.
What are some things we could look for if I'm worried about a family or a friend that they may be taking that avenue of suicide?
So an individual isolating themselves, these are like the generic statements. A person isolating themselves, not communicating with others. Individual may find themselves having difficulties with that within work, within school. Individuals who may find that they don't want to, they may say, I don't want to be here any longer. Or what would the world be like if I wasn't here? Those are constant things that I hear from individuals as well. And sometimes people say, well, I don't have a plan, but they may. And who are we to judge, just knowing that if that's what it is, do you mind if I assist you? Not forcing that person, but letting them know that I am here for you. I can assist you. Because like you were saying too, the families are affected. And I've worked with many family members who have been affected, unfortunately, due to suicide. And there are groups for those family members as well. I would encourage everyone to go online, look up, surviving victims of suicide, so that you're able to go to different groups, see that you're not alone. As well. And that's one of the biggest things for individuals too who may have suicidal ideations or may be contemplating it. They may feel that they're alone. Nobody knows my pain. Nobody knows my struggle. Come to find out, there may be others that have experienced what you're experiencing or may have those same thoughts and feelings, and coming together in a place that is working with a facilitator to assist. Yeah, facilitator.
You don't want just an echo chamber.
Yeah.
Because then it's just like more negativity. Yeah,
Definitely.
like a suicide pact type
Yeah,
thing.
where we start to express that hurt, but a trained facilitator to assist within that understanding of what individuals are going through, giving techniques, skills, suggestions, giving that love that may be necessary that we may not have experienced, giving that that hope that a person may have to have, or even being able to recognize that there is that one thing that I could do. It may be getting a puppy. Yeah.
Right. Listen.
I'm telling you. Yeah. A puppy has helped many individuals. Whenever anyone's talking about getting a child or anything, I tell them puppies, kittens, something that will love you. You're able to share that love with and whatnot. But the thing is that sometimes we believe that having the baby will make us feel better. But then that's another life that we're going to be affecting, and who's going to be affected by the things that we're going through. So I do encourage people to, check out different information online, call up the hotlines that are out there, seek professional assistance. It's all right speaking to our neighbors, speaking to our cousins, speaking to our friends, and hopefully those individuals will be able to encourage them to seek professional help. Yeah.
What are some things that maybe helped you out of those dark periods in life? And you might be in a dark period now. I could be smiling at y'all right now and be, that's what's so crazy about this.
True.
But if you can go back to one of your older dark periods, right? How were you able to navigate out of that?
I would say definitely the help of a professional. Definitely. I started seeing my therapist weekly, and my life has improved drastically. Right? We'll call our friends, we'll call our families a lot of times when we're going through things, but they aren't trained on how to help you.
Right.
So sometimes you can even end up in a cycle feeling worse. You're telling someone I'm feeling like this, and they're like, well, me too.
Yeah.
I'm struggling too, and it gets just darker. So reaching out to a trained professional for sure, someone who can help you get a plan going in another direction, But definitely exercise and eating healthy.
How about that?
Perfect
Definitely.
segue.
Oh,
that?
yeah.
Perfect segue. So let's talk a little more about that. You are very, very big. If anyone follows you or were a victim of your terrible Body twisting techniques. I'm lying. Y'all know I'm being extra. It's actually saved my back.
How about that?
How important is it not just to have the mental, but the body a part in what you eat? You hear gut floors. Science is talking a lot about that. How important it is with the blood brain barriers and all that. How important is it to have a healthy diet and also be physically in shape and pliable and towards your expertise?
Hello. So the body and the mind are not separate.
Right.
Everything is connected. So if you're in a really dark place and you can go to a yoga class, if you can run on a treadmill for 15 minutes, if you can take a walk out of your house and get that fresh air and get those endorphins flowing, you're going to feel better mentally.
Endorphins.
Oh, yeah.
I like word too.
Endorphins. I like that.
But isn't it so hard? So my mom, I've talked about it a lot, and she's bipolar, a whole bunch of different polars. She's probably quadruple polar.
She may experience bipolar symptoms.
There we
but
go.
I like
Okay.
to let everyone know that they are not their diagnosis.
Ooh, all right.
Yeah. So you may experience those symptoms, but that doesn't make you that. That's just a term that's utilized for the insurance companies for us to know what criterias have
Okay.
been met. Yeah, so she's a person and she may be
Thank you.
experiencing these things.
I can't wait till she sees this, and I'm gonna use it every time when we're talking, discussing it. Mom, this is.
All right.
But a lot of times, my wife and I, we were both 230 pounds easy, right? We're not tall people, big people, and it was a time where exercise not only saved me physically, but I would tell people like the endorphin rush and the feeling you feel of setting out a plan and reaching a goal, and just even if you're like it's your first day, just that feeling of like accomplishment.
Yeah.
But when you try to tell people who maybe haven't made that step, it's hard to say, hey, go outside and if you just feel that sun in your face and walking,
Vitamin
like
D.
vitamin D, right?
Very necessary.
They
too.
like they don't see the benefit of it.
Yeah.
Now, how do you persuade them, or how have you maybe persuaded them to do that?
So sometimes, talking to an individual isn't enough. And
Right.
if it's a friend or a family member, someone you're very close to, I'll go and on several occasions with several different friends, hey, how you feeling today? I'm not feeling good. I'm in a dark place. It's a nice day outside. I'll be outside in 15 minutes. Get in my car. We're going to the park. We're going for a walk.
That's lovely.
How about that?
You
Stepping out there and making sure.
Yeah.
Let's go. Letting them know that you're there with them.
I wish you would. How family sometimes get. I said I ain't fucking going. You're like, Mama, please, endorphins. I don't care.
You have to incentivize.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
what are some ways to? All right. So let's just keep it 100. And
All
my
right.
mom would have no problem me sharing this with you.
All right.
She also enjoys alcohol.
Okay.
She enjoys her vices. We all
Okay.
have different vices,
All
right?
right.
With me, I am a hamburger away from being a glutton.
All right.
I love food. That's how I feed my depression.
I'm with you.
All right.
Unfortunately.
Oh man,
Unfortunately.
10 guys.
Hey,
I love them all.
Hey.
So how do we incentivize people who are caught in this loop of finding their own ways to self-medicate?
Yeah.
That's their incentive, right? I come home, I'm dealing with work, I still have my looming family issues. I want to deal with my vices.
Yeah.
How do we say, hey, here's something else. Let's try it this way. Let's still take this walk outside. How do we get that from in the bed, dark room to sunny day outside? Which are different ways to incentivize that?
Being able to assist someone by finding out what it is they like.
Okay.
So let's say it is alcohol, right? If we do have that one glass of wine together while we're having a conversation about something that is joyful, a memory or something, or even participating in these different things that are going on. And let's say we go to I know they have a lot of those wine festivals, right?
Okay.
So then you're learning about the grapes, learning about the process and whatnot. So then an individual is not in their head. So an individual is learning something about something they enjoy. So you like that, what is it? What's the name of a wine? I don't know. Barefoot, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, barefoot. All the people who drink wine are probably like that.
They're like, "What is that?"
I don't know. But
Say Pinot Grigio.
right,
Somebody's
right.
out.
So with that, being able to know that that one glass or that little glass while you're walking around and learning all these different things can be all right.
What if
It's
they like crack?
moderation. So with that, I
Or
have
heroin, right?
to crack or heroin. Yeah,
'Cause I
let's
ain't
be
doing
honest.
it. Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
be honest.
It could be
It's
something
there.
that you can't have this
Coke,
romanticized
yeah.
conversation with.
Yeah, so with that, we have to recognize that that does cause harm, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with that, trained professionals, once and for all, I have to say, trained professionals assist individuals with reducing, if not eliminating, those harmful chemicals that we use to self-medicate. Being able to utilize exercise, definitely one of the biggest things. I know one person who found that they turned one addiction into another one, and it may be a healthier addiction. Being able to recognize that within those addictions, that moderation, where there's the harm reduction, where, you know, if a person is doing if smoking, let's say 5 blunts or something, if that person has gone down to 3, gone down to 2, and then down to 1, and recognize that they have a lot of money in their hands, right? And they're like, oh shoot, so I was spending all this. So you have to find that motivation. So whatever that motivation is, that person has to buy into that for themselves. And that does sometimes take the use of a professional or someone who's not part of that family. Yeah, and a lot of times we think that we can do it because this is my family and I'm there to help them. Sometimes the best thing you can do is to send them to someone who is not you. Yeah, because they're not going to share everything that they would. Yeah, we have those biases. We have those shames. We have those judgments.
What about me you were talking about?
How about that? So with that, you have to recognize that someone who doesn't know you from Tom, Dick, Jane, Harry, Beverly may be the best person for that person to be with and be around. Doing the rehab programs, as long as it's their time, then they will get something from it. As well as if it's not their time to say, you know what, I don't want to use this anymore, they learn more information and more about themselves. Yeah.
You know what? It's funny you say that because my wife. So, me being the kid who grew up in the type of household we grew up on, you know, sometimes when I'm trying to help my mom or family members through these things, it brings back the memories you tried to put away, and it hurts you over again, and then you find yourself arguing over details and more. So sometimes some of the best talks is when it's not with me, it's my wife, and or vice versa. Like her mom might talk to me, and my mom in the sense gets a pass. She can unload without me saying, well, Mom, that's not how I was, or how do you think I felt when we were going through it? And Mo be sitting there talking to her, take a sip of the beer, and they just talk, and the goal of getting it out and exhaling is achieved, regardless if I agree with every detail, if I feel like certain things were left out, or the goal is still reached, and it's reached through someone who's somewhat outside that can look in and not feel triggered every time you mention something that makes them jump. So that's a great point. Before you had exercise and this knowledge of putting proper things in your body, where were you, and do you think that caused maybe some of the issues you were dealing with depression or your mental health?
I was 220 pounds.
Wow.
I was 220 pounds, and I was just in a very dark space. I was working doing tech support.
Okay.
Actually, so it was a very sedentary job, very sedentary environment, and I just really didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know what I wanted out of life, and that was causing a lot of those feelings, you know. And it's a lot of pressure from society, from your family, from your friends. You got to be doing this. You're 21. You're doing that. Oh no, you need to be here. You see, other people are here. So I was definitely in a very dark place, and I think one day I hadn't started with a good therapist yet, because I've had bad therapists. I'm gonna put it out there. Not every therapist is gonna be a perfect fit for you. Finding a good professional is very similar to dating.
Right. Okay,
right?
Okay. That's
You're going to talk to some people and they're just not going to be able to meet your needs. And that's okay. You don't want to stop your quest for mental health.
That's a good point.
Because you have a negative experience.
That's a great point. Yeah.
So I hadn't found the one yet, but I was very, very unhappy in my body. So I was like, okay, how can I change this? Me and my mom actually went together and got gym membership.
Okay.
And
Shout out, Mom. That's dope. We were talking about that. Someone to share to bring you out.
Yeah.
And at the time, I stopped working at the call center because I was like, oh, this is draining me. I was unemployed. I'm living with my mom. I'm like, you know what I can do? I can go to the gym every day. So I just started with that small step of going to the gym every day. Started feeling better about myself. I started seeing myself reach these goals, and you feel bigger, you feel stronger. Even if physically you don't look different, right? Emotionally, it's like, hey, I'm 2 pounds down.
Right.
And that 2 pounds could have been a poop. It
could have been some water you sweated out.
It doesn't have to be, the true, fat loss it can just be an experience.
Mm.
So yeah, that's where I started out, and I started working out every day, and I lost 60 pounds.
Mm.
And I was working out with a trainer, and they were like, "Hey, maybe you should do this. Like, we have a training class coming up. Maybe you should do this." So I took the class. And after that, I did not like personal training. I did not like personal training at all.
Okay.
I ended up working at the gym that I worked out for, that I worked out at, and they had like a sales model, and the sales model is, you are fat, you are fat, you are worthless, you need me. You see me, I'm a trainer. Don't you want to look like me?
Oh.
Yeah. So it was making people feel bad.
Right.
So I did not like doing that. You
Right,
know,
right.
they put you through different exercises. The culture of finding a trainer at these big box gyms is that they beat you up physically. And you're like, oh wow, I'm really out of shape. I really need this. And when you're in that vulnerable state, when you're sweating, when you're tired, like, yeah,
We got the fear.
come on, sign this piece of paper.
Psychology even behind that.
Right.
What they're doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel really good about doing that. I maybe did that about 3 months, but in that time, I'm still sending out my resume, knowing that moving saved me, knowing that I have to be moving for the rest of my life, right?
Right,
So I'm
right.
like, any job that's movement,
Right,
I have
right.
this certification, let's go. And a corporation actually reached out to me and said they would pay for my certification.
Oh wow.
If I just come on down, and they would teach me stretch therapy. I had no idea what stretch therapy was. And that's how I ended up.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That is wonderful. So, did you have anyone when you were in that dark period, and I guess you were body shaming yourself in a sense, right? Was there anyone saying, "Hey, maybe you should go try to work out," or was it anyone in your circle outside of mom who eventually went with you, who was saying you need to go talk to someone and take this path of?
I would
getting,
say no, because I'm a big isolator.
Okay.
I'm a big isolator. If
Okay.
I'm in a dark space, it's something that I've worked through with my therapist. If I'm in a dark space, I don't feel worthy of the company of my loved ones.
Wow.
And
look
that's
at that.
very,
Look what we
very
do to
unfortunate.
ourselves.
Yeah. It's people who love me and would love to be there for
And
me.
you shut them out.
And I shut them out. So I didn't have anyone. It was me versus me all day, kind of getting it there.
And you just, was it like a YouTube video or like an ad? It was like, you know what? Maybe I need to go talk to someone about this.
I had experienced a lot of therapy. So how I ended up in therapy, I had experienced a lot of childhood trauma. So from the time I was about 12, we're like, okay, maybe we should have her go sit and talk to someone.
Okay.
And I had good therapists, not a bad therapist.
Okay.
So it was like in the back of my mind, I knew that I needed to be in therapy. I had been medicated previously.
Okay.
I do not believe there's any shame in being medicated. However, it just didn't work for me.
Okay.
So I was at this point where I'm doing all these things physically. I'm looking at this holistic life, and I'm like, I'm not taking no drugs, but I will see someone who can help me. And like I said, it's nothing wrong with taking medication. Just for me, we weren't able to find the one, right? It's a lot of different medications that offer people a lot of different experiences. I just wasn't able to figure it out. Yeah.
That's wonderful though, but like you said earlier, and to reiterate the fact that it's not a first date perfect match. This is truly a journey, and whether it's through medicating or talking to someone, or a hybrid or a mix of both, it's a step-by-step thing. And it took a lot of courage, just knowing a little bit of the story that I know about you right now that you just disclosed to us, that you most likely had times in your life where like, this shit ain't working, man, and why am I even wasting my time doing this? But you stuck to it, and look how it turned out. Great. And now you're putting people in pretzels, so that's wonderful. So as we talked about in this article, and we talked a little bit about behind the scenes, black men, right? Or just men in period.
Yeah.
Let's make it about men.
All right.
We got this machismo thing. We got this tough, don't cry, don't be no punk, no pussy. Just no disrespect to the lady on me, but you know what I mean, right? It's like, come on, toughen up.
Yeah.
And I feel like us as men, like sometimes I've had conversations with my boys and they cry and they immediately apologize afterwards. Or they embarrassed. And it's like, no, bro, not only am I glad you did it, I'm honored that you felt safe enough, because as a man, I know how hard it is sometimes just to be vulnerable and be weak.
Definitely.
How do men get around the fact of being a man isn't only tough? You can also be vulnerable. What are some tricks and tips doctor. I slipped it in there
LCPC,
again.
LCPC licensed
What is
clinical
it? Trips and
professional counselor.
Because I deal with fighters. I deal with fighters, bro,
Yeah.
that can murder people with their hands, feet,
Yeah.
elbows. And we have conversations. Matter of fact, my homeboy right here, Sonny, came on the show, gave us an hour, 2 hours, Bellator fighter too.
All right.
And he was talking about his father not being in his life and the resentment and hate he built towards it. And he found out 10, 15, 20 years later, please forgive me if I'm off on the dates or even the story, that was never the case. His mother and father split, but his father just lost track, couldn't find him until the day he died, was trying to look for him.
Yeah.
So to imagine you hating your father, feel like he was never there, and you find out from a family member later that no, he always loved you, and you got all these emotions inside, and feel like you can't cry, you can't, and using martial arts and hatred and beat. How do we deal with this? And what are some things you think that we're not understanding about this whole process?
Yeah. One of the biggest things is understanding the narrative that we're constantly telling ourselves, and the narrative that's been passed down. The real men don't cry, or the don't let them see you cry. What tears are a sign of weakness. All those different things. Recognizing that is just miseducation that's been passed down through the generations, and sometimes it's people don't want you to be that quote unquote punk in front of others, because then the individuals who are a little tougher, they may go and bounce up, pounce on you and whatnot. So the parent may be looking at that. We have to think about the surroundings and the settings and whatnot. But I believe that crying is just as necessary as breathing, just as necessary as person passing gas. If it was something that our body,
Hold on 1 second.
yeah. Yeah. Got you. So, so with that, recognizing that there's many different things that we have to do, and our body needs tears to be able to assist in healing. And I do believe that is a form of healing. So tears, even hugging too. Yeah, that's another thing that us as males, we may do a little dap here and there and whatnot. But I mean a full body hug, heart to heart.
I love you, bro.
Yeah, that's sometimes what a person is needing, and not just from a young lady, but from another man, from a brother out there that understands that hurt, or knows that hurt, and knows that society says we shouldn't.
Right.
But I can and I will, and I'm giving this to you. Yeah. Tears are something that I believe, if you haven't experienced it, or you tell people you haven't experienced it, you should take some time, listen to that song maybe that allows you to really dig
That
deep.
triggers it.
Yeah.
Probably something my boys do, man.
How about that?
Mama, you know.
Yeah.
That always gets
Yeah.
me.
Man, mine is Georgia Mass Choir. Come
Okay,
on in the room, right?
All right, well, all right now.
That's me,
All right.
right?
Okay,
Yeah.
now.
No shame. That's
What's
what
your
it
song
is.
right now? Go. You got your cry song.
I
Which
don't
one?
have a
Mary
cry
J.
song.
It's probably Mary J.
It's just the shower. I like to sit in the
Okay.
floor in the shower and let it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So that just touches on the part that we do need those spaces too, to feel like we can and know that we will not be judged as
Safe
well.
spaces.
Yeah, safe space. It may be in the bathroom, it may be in the shower, it may be in my room with my face in a pillow, it may be in the bathroom with the lights off. That may be what gives me the chance to not see myself but express myself. Expressing yourself in a trained professional's office where it's a safe space to be able to let those come. Yeah, let that be shared with someone else. Sometimes we're afraid of sharing that with others. So being able to
And
have
using
this
it against
person,
you.
How about
That's
that?
what it is, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to give anyone, you don't give the enemy the
Yeah.
knife to stab you in a
How
sense.
about that? And people are constantly wondering, is this person the enemy today
Can I
or
trust
tomorrow?
them? Yeah.
Yeah.
You said something that really touched me just now. It's crying is as important as breathing.
Yes.
And I guess in that whole cycle, the exhale. Because whenever I cry, it's like I'm exhaling.
How
It's like,
about that?
I'm letting it out. So as much as we breathe in and we constantly breathing in could be like a metaphor for like bringing people's other stuff. And like in my family, I'm that guy that people come to for whatever reason. And I don't know if that maybe is a defense mechanism you talked about for me to feel like if I'm so strong, no one would ask me how I'm feeling. And I don't have to divulge that.
All right.
But when I cry, I exhale, and I think it's very important to get that out. And I encourage that even my wife or my friends, man, you got to cry.
Yeah.
It is, you have to. If you don't cry, you're disservicing yourself, because what you're doing, you're just breathing in and holding your breath. You're just sucking everyone else's energy in, whether you have to or not. You know, you might have a child that you have to be there for your child, but you still need to be able to exhale, and it may be a tear outside of maybe your child's presence, but you need that moment.
I like what you were talking about, because also we're holding in that tension. Yeah, we're holding in that tension, and we're not allowing ourselves to let it out. So when individuals find themselves holding that tension, they start having fast heart palpitations, their breathing is slow and whatnot. I allow them to recognize that they have full power and control over that. So breathing in through your nose, holding that breath consciously, and then letting it out your mouth and releasing that tension at the same time. It doesn't matter where it is, and that's one of the forms that's used, or techniques, I should say, techniques and skills that therapists assist you with. It's considered progressive muscle relaxation. Yeah, and that's something that I'm sure it may be on YouTube, but definitely go see a therapist, ask them about that, ask them about deep breathing techniques. There's more than one. Everyone thinks they know how to breathe, but it's unfortunate that we don't. Being able to deep breathe and take that time for us, it's very important. And those tears do come when we have those memories, when we have those feelings, when we have those thoughts, those emotions. They do swell up inside. Let it out. Don't hold it in. Yeah, that's the cardiovascular system, right? It's all this pain, all this suffering, and it's attacking the heart. Yeah.
Crazy.
How about that?
How much do you think social media is an enemy or an asset to us? Now, as we know, people very rarely post the dark times in their life.
Yeah.
The brave ones do, right? I consider myself one of the brave ones, but maybe I should even be a little more transparent. But sometimes you don't want to give the dagger to the enemy, right? You don't want to expose too much of what's going on with you and someone uses it against you later.
Okay.
But in social media, it seems like everybody's posting only the good stuff. Everything's great in my life. And it's somewhat of an echo chamber of, hey, well, if you're great, look how great I am. How do you think that's hurting us maybe from a mental, health, wellness standpoint? Both of you, if you want to dig on that.
I think it's a double-edged sword sometimes. Yeah,
So it brought me to you.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. There's beauty in it, but there's also darkness and pain in it as well. Sometimes you may find yourself having those negative thoughts, and then you're looking at other people just smiling all the time, right? And a picture is worth 1,000 words, as they say, right? So then, why are they so happy? Why are they going here doing all these things? Look at what they're wearing. Oh, if I would have done this, I would have been there, or whatnot. So that constantly builds and feeds that fire. Yeah, so I'm one of those big fans of the term one coin, two sides.
Okay.
When we're focused on that negative right there, we forget about what's on the other side, which could be the positive part of it. And it depends on which side you're looking at. So we're not in balance because we're really focusing and concentrating on what we're feeling, what we're thinking, and that experience. And then we keep ourselves from others, even though we are being social in social media, right?
Yeah.
We're more like being vultures and just looking and peering and seeing, and then digging ourselves a deeper hole to get out of.
Do you, or have you ever maybe spoke to someone and say, and you suggested to stay off of social media, or maybe clear up the people you follow? That's something I think, and I talk about social media isn't so much the enemy, it's who you choose to breathe from.
Yeah.
So I constantly look, if you're the type of person where it's all negative, I don't wish you any harm, and I wish that you evolved because I've evolved.
Yeah.
It's some Facebook posts I put 10 years ago I'm ashamed of. Like, damn, I said that?
Right.
Right? So I'm not judging them. But sometimes I got to clear my cache. I got to say, you know what, bro, I can't follow you because everything you put up, somebody getting beat up, shot, overtly sexist. I say some sexual shit too, but do you sometimes say, look, maybe social media not being the demon, because there are things out there that can help you, but maybe you should stay away from certain things? Is that something that you maybe suggested in the past to someone?
It depends on what the individual is going through. Sometimes the social media may be a tool that they're using to connect with others. But if it is something where they're finding that they're just comparing themselves constantly, or
What I don't have. Why I'm not feeling good.
I'm big on taking a little hiatus. Taking a vacation from social media. What things do you not have to check on a daily basis? Because social media makes it where you're checking it on a regular basis.
We talked about endorphins earlier.
Yeah, it's pleasure.
They got
it's
us.
pleasure, right? It's
Dopamine
pleasure.
rushes.
That's what it is. It's pleasure. We like
They
seeing
like my
this.
photo. They like my video.
Yeah,
Ooh.
who likes and whatnot. So being able to step back from that and recognizing what I like. Yeah, who am I again? Yeah, taking those little breaks. Breaks to be able to see who I am, where I am, when. So it's the who, what, when, where, why, and the hows of me. And not putting it on others. So I'm a big fan of breaks.
It ain't hard to follow that. I mean, you're not following it because it's your own story, but it's like, well, name's Nick. And I'm saying some stupid shit. What do you got? How do you feel about social media? Has it helped you, hurt you, a little bit in between?
Yeah, so social media is a huge tool for me because what I do, stretch therapy, is fairly new. So a lot of people aren't educated on the service that I provide. So I have to use it to kind of bring awareness to what I do, and it helps me increase my clientele. However, it's important that I am deliberate with my intention when I open Instagram, right? So
I like that.
if I'm using social media for marketing, if I'm using social media for branding, I need to be intentional. Okay, I'm going to post this and then move on. You know, I can use it to network, and then when I'm networking, I'm scrolling, and I'm scrolling. And I have to take a non-comparative approach at that point. You know, yes, you look happy. Yes, it looks like you have a good life. And I'm happy too.
Right.
And I have a good life too. And you have to be grateful for the things that you have. You know, a lot of times we'll see them in their relationship, we're like, oh, hold up. I'm single. What's going on with me?
They just fought before they put that photo up. Let me motherfucking tell you. She just digged in my ass. And y'all like, look at them, got it together. I'm like, fam, if you only knew. I ain't put them socks up. It's a great point.
Yeah, you have to be grateful for what you have. When you take a stance of gratitude, it's harder to feel jealousy. It's harder to be jealous when you say, you know, hey, I have these people who love me. I have experienced love in all these ways. It's all these people who support me, you know? So we just got to take time and reflect and be intentional when we're on social media. If you're on there to network. If you're on there to market. If you're on there to have a good time, make sure you're having a good time. But the moment you feel those feelings arise, like you said, recognizing the signs in your body, right? When you're feeling your neck and shoulders tight up, when you're feeling it in your chest, let it go. Pull
Do
back.
you and you said it, but I want to make sure you said it. Do you like tell yourself, I am doing this?
Oh, yes.
Like, I am now not going to compare my life to others as I scroll. Do you tell? Because I think that's something I could do.
I am the biggest talker out louder to myself.
Okay.
Like, sometimes people are looking at me when I'm walking and they're like, what's going on with her? It's me and me. Mind your business.
She's smiling and talking to herself. I'm across the street. this motherfucker crazy. But they don't know that you actually keeping the crazy away.
Hello.
People are so worried about how people see them, they forget to do what they got to do for themselves, regardless of how the world portrays
I have to be there for me, no matter what that looks like to
I hear you. You might have to talk to yourself and skip.
Hello.
You just might have to do it. Skip.
And I've had those good days.
Right.
Sometimes I'm waking up, I'm out, I'm about my day, and something happens on the way to work. You know, somebody cuts you off. Today is a good day. Today is a really good day. Today is a really good day. Today is a really good day. And just kind of bringing your mind back.
That works.
Because you're not all these experiences. Your life is not these tiny experiences that throw you off. It's so much bigger. And so beautiful. So today is a good day.
I love it. Let's go over a little bit of your qualifications, because I didn't do the best job of really introducing you both. And I want to make sure we close with how they can contact you and stuff. But I want you to read down the list of accolades. Your background, education, and ways they can find you and talk to you if they need to.
All right. So my name is Kublai Duhart. I am a licensed clinical professional counselor. I am in the state of Maryland. I'm right here in Owings Mills area. Through the use of telehealth, I'm able to assist individuals who cannot make it into the office. If you are able to make it in the office, which I do appreciate, for you to just come in right off of Red Run Boulevard here in Owings Mills. My phone number is 443-738-4724. My website for my own personal website is www.myipch.com. For education history, I received my bachelor's in psychology from Hampton University, and I received my master's in counseling from Bowie State University. I'm originally from Rochester, New York, so that's why you don't hear the Baltimore accent.
Give me Baltimore.
Baltimore.
Hey,
Baltimore.
All right.
I had to learn that. The young ones taught me Baltimore. Yeah, I used to say Baltimore, and they say
you pronounce too many
They
letters.
say no, Mr. K. Baltimore.
There you go.
Yeah, so big ups to all the Baltimore folk. Yeah. So I am open for business. I do ask that you call or email me. You can find me on Psychology Today through at Kublai Duhart. You can also put down what the zip code, which is 21117. I am an African American male therapist, and I know that a lot of individuals want to be able to work with someone who looks like them, who may have experienced the things that they've experienced within their culture. And that's what I'm here to do. There's a lot of us out here, males and females. If I'm not able to assist you, I can definitely refer you to a lot of great therapists in the area, males and females, not only African Americans, Caucasian, Asian Americans who are out here doing this healing work as well. So please contact me, contact your local therapist if you find yourself experiencing different things.
He also has a background in grappling.
So
And so fighters, we have a lot of fighter friends
Yeah.
that I know. Evan, you as well, right? And y'all need help too.
Yeah.
And I understand. In public eye, you got to be this tough, unbreakable monster, demolished. Yeah, but you
Yeah.
need help. So he's also there, and there's some. He can identify with you as well.
Definitely.
It's not just some guy who didn't hold people down and choke them unconscious.
Right.
All right.
And with that too, I'm also a hypnotist and a hypnotherapist.
Okay.
So I can assist individuals in working through different experiences from their past, in their current experiences as well, and being able to recognize what the learning was from different situations, and being able to take it and attribute it to the present, so that their future can be something that may be more appropriate.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And as he gets your mind right, we got some body expert over here. Tell them what you're
My
certified in.
expertise.
Expertise.
Ooh. So I am a myofacial therapist. Myofacial release therapy is a fairly new thing. So a lot of people aren't familiar what fascia is. Like, a lot of people are familiar with your muscular system, right? And people are familiar with the skeletal system. But fascia is actually the connective tissue between the two. So I help assist people who have chronic pain, and they go to the doctors, and fascia doesn't show up on a CT scan. It doesn't show up on an MRI. It doesn't show up on any x-ray. So they're like, I went to the doctors and I have this pain, but they're saying it's nothing wrong with me. And I'm the next step.
You're that in between.
Oh,
Wonderful.
yeah.
Okay,
So I
cool,
can help
okay.
you relieve your chronic pain in an hour. In an hour. And that's a service that I provided to a lot of different people, a lot of people experiencing sciatica, a lot of people with very active lifestyles. I've worked with a couple different professional boxers that you may know of. And I am at Simple Wellness. That is the top Black-owned spa in Maryland.
Love it. Wonderful spot. Wonderful spot.
On Charles Street. You can also follow me on Instagram at Stretch with Evan.
Wonderful.
yeah.
Beautiful. I'm gonna touch base with you guys, and we will make this a reoccurring thing with different topics. But I truly appreciate the time you took today to come and just talk to me about some of these subjects. And I wish you guys well, and to keep saving the world. Y'all superheroes. And you're not paid enough, and you're not told enough that how important you are in society. I mean this, honestly. We got enough basketball players and rappers, and those are needed, right?
Yes.
But this right here, this ground up work is what I think really can change and help evolve our understanding of what it is to be human. And I just want to thank you both today.
Thank you.
Y'all can, of course, follow us on Not Safe Ears, Instagram, Facebook, Your Mama's House. We're on YouTube, of course, and continue to be patient with us. And we will continue to have people like this on the show to help out, to make sure we bring you guys quality content. And we'll also have some crackheads, too, to mix it up.
Okay.
Crackheads need love, too, right?
Crackheads do need
need
love,
love.
too. I've never met a crackhead I didn't like.
Crackheads are people.
Crackheads are efficient.
They're people.
You need a crackhead in your life.
So I'm going to say, for all the individuals who may suffer from substance use
There
and
you go,
abuse,
brother.
from substance use and
There you
abuse,
go.
there is help out there, and I am one of the individuals that can assist you through auricular acupuncture as well. All right, and there are great therapies and great providers out there. So no crackheads, but substance use and abuse.
He's good.
Yes,
He's great. I feel safe with you. Not Safe Ears. Thank y'all so
Healing gang.
much.
We're out here. Healing.
See y'all soon.